Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Welcome, my brothers and sisters in Islam. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gather us together in His worship and to bring us always to the peace and the calmness. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And just to make a little bit of introduction of my topic for tonight, it's related to the ethics of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, since we are witnessing the month of Rabi' al-Awwal, where we have the Milad al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And it's a great time to know more about Rasulullah, to study his seerah, and to know more about his ethics, his manners. And collectively as ummah, if we follow the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we will find ourselves in a different situation actually, because we will come to the reality of Islam. We will understand the core message of Islam. It's not only about the rituals. It's not only about what is halal and what is haram. It's actually about how to deal with one another, how to know one another. And I'm not telling one of the secrets tonight, but I'm actually telling you the truth. If you want to ask somebody how many of the percentage of the whole Quran in terms of the rules, in terms of halal and haram, in terms of ahkam, the legislation, so it will never be over like 5% of the entire Quran. And now you can ask yourself, I'm keeping myself busy with the halal and the haram, which is something great actually, but at the same time, some of people are neglecting the majority of the Quranic message, which is all about how to deal with one another, how to have good ethics and manners. And that's actually what I wanted to highlight today. Islam is the religion which is built upon mercy, which is the religion of the mercy. Allah described himself in the Quran as the most gracious and the most merciful. And Allah had sent Rasuluna Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam by mercy. He came with the message of mercy. And Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have sent you as a mercy to the entire creation. And the Quran is the book of the mercy. So Allah, the creator, is the source of mercy. And he sent the Prophet Muhammad with mercy. And he sent the revelation which is calling us to be merciful with one another. And it's not only about this. As I said last Jumu'ah, during the khutbah of Jumu'ah, it is so important when I deal with my brothers and sisters in Islam, when we deal with one another, to see the implication of the Quran, to see the result of the Quran in our daily life affairs. Can you tell me what is the benefit that will go to the society or to the community if I had knew that there's somebody who had memorized the entire Quran? What is the benefit that will go back to me or go back to the society? What if I had knew that we have a brother who is standing the entire night to pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but when we deal with one another, I don't see the result of his salah or his Quran recitation. And that's actually will take us to another perspective, another spectrum to the meaning of the religion. That the religion is not only a verse that you recite, it's not only some verse, you pray at the masjid, it has a wider meaning. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, I'm just giving you one example to get my point, what I'm referring to. They called him one day and they said, Ya Rasulullah, we have a lady that she is praying a lot and she is reciting a lot. She is remembering Allah a lot, but she is hurting her neighbors. He said, she will be in the hellfire. And why is that? Why is that? Because if you are reciting, if you are praying, if you are remembering Allah, that's for yourself. But what about the entire society? We need to see the implication. We need to see the effect of your salah, of your ibadah, in your ethics. And that's why I chose the kindness, to be kind, to be nice, to be merciful, to be good to your neighbors, to be good to your family members, to be good to your relatives, to be good to your parents, to be good to your friends, your colleagues, your brothers and sisters in the masjid. And I had agreed with lots of brothers in the masjid that the kindness is a choice. It's a decision. And that's why we said, choose to be kind, because this is Islam. And this is the ethics of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And in order to get the whole meaning of kindness, being kind, being nice, being generous, being good to people, that's actually the manifestation of being a Muslim. So how could you say, I am a Muslim, I am following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but at the same time, you are not translating those teachings, those acts of worship into effect, into kindness in the society? What does it mean if you call yourself, you are a follower of Rasulullah, but at the same time, you are far away from his teachings, sallallahu alayhi wasallam? And today I brought to you actually two of the stories that shows to us, that might show to us that kindness, or even being nice, being gentle with others, that is one of the essentials in Islam. People nowadays are busy with the essential pillars of Islam, like Salah, Siyam, Zakah, Hajj, which is great. We are talking about the main pillars of Islam actually, but at the same time, they neglected that when they be kind, they actually are doing part of the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And tonight we have a good journey with one of the great names of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyiduna Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu. Sayyiduna Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, at not the early stage of Islam, but even before that, he was in a state of poverty. He wasn't a rich person. And he, one day, after many years in Islam, he found himself wearing a good type of garments. And he remembered, and he said, you know what? I have good garments today, but I wasn't like this. I was so poor. And he started to narrate the story that happened with him at the early days of Islam. He was so poor, and he said, I used to go in the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I used to walk between the minbar of Rasulullah and his rooms, just hoping that maybe somebody or someone from the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could offer me some food to eat. And he was so poor and he used to get hungry to the point that he might fall in the masjid or even pass out in the masjid because of the hunger. And he said about himself, he said, one day I used to tie a piece of rock on my stomach, my empty stomach, just to relieve the pressure over my stomach. And that's actually something good. I want to pause here a little bit. Now he's talking while he has a good piece of garment over him, and he's not poor anymore, but he is reminding himself of the blessings of Allah upon him. And that is something we need actually to remind each other of, to remind ourselves when you have a good car, when you have a good house, when you have something to eat on your table, you remember the old days, the days that I had nothing, the days that maybe I was suffering from the poverty or hunger, or maybe I passed by some days when I had nothing. Now I can see the ni'mah of Allah upon me. And I will let Sayyidina Abu Hurairah to continue his story. And he said, one day I was so hungry to the point that I didn't find anything in the masjid. I didn't find anything in the houses of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And actually, he went outside. He went to the public road and he stood in public waiting for somebody just to give him something. And he said, at that moment, Abu Bakr radiallahu anh had passed by him. And he said, let me ask him about a verse in the Quran. And he said, Abu Bakr, what do you think about the verse so and so? And he's saying, وَإِنِّي وَإِنَّهَا لَعِنْدِي, means I exactly know what does it mean. I know the answer of the question. And he said, I was just asking him, hoping that he might invite me to his house and say, let's have a conversation about the answer of that question so I might get some food. And he said, but Abu Bakr didn't get the hint. And he gave him the answer and he left him standing in the street. And after a short time, Umar radiallahu anh passed by him and he gave him another question, hoping that Umar might invite him, but he didn't get the hint also. And after a short time, Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam passed by him. And even without talking, Rasulullah just looked at him. And he said, Rasulullah smiled at me. And he said, Abu Hurairah, follow me. Follow me to my house. And now you know that he already checked the houses of Rasulullah and there is nothing there. And he said, I followed him, but I didn't want to tell Rasulullah that there is nothing in your house. And he reached to the house of Rasulullah and Rasulullah asked, do we have something? And they said, we just have a cup of milk. One of your friends, one of your companions had just brought it right now. Now, Abu Hurairah became so happy. Now he has a cup of milk. At least he had something to drink. Look at this surprise. Look at what happened. Rasulullah said, Ya Abu Hurairah, I wanted you to go and call the people of Suffah, Ahlus Suffah. Who are Ahlus Suffah? Ahlus Suffah are the poor people. They used to stay at the back of the masjid. They used to stay outside the masjid or the back area of the masjid. Some of the narrations used to say that their numbers, when they reached to the maximum, they used to be 400. And the minimum number that they reached to, less than 100. And let's say like 90, 80. Let's take the lesser number, 80. At that time, Abu Hurairah was astonished, was shocked. And he said, just a cup of milk. And the Rasulullah is ordering me to call the people of Ahlul Suffah so they can drink from that cup of milk. That would not be enough. He said that in the narration. He said, I was disappointed for two reasons. Number one, that I will call the people of As-Suffah, all of them, and nothing, that would not be enough. Number two, since I am the one who is inviting them, I must serve them first. That means I will drink at the end. So definitely nothing will remain for me. But he said, I had no choice except to obey Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He called all of them. And Rasulullah, he put his hand on the pot and he gave it to Abu Hurairah and he made the dua and he said, Bismillah. And Abu Hurairah started to serve one by one. And each one is drinking until he feels like he is full. He is full. And he passed by one by one. And he said, I used to look at the milk and it's the same. It seems like nothing was gone. And he said, till I finished all of them. This is the barakah of the dua of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he said, till all of them had drank, except me and Rasulullah. Then Rasulullah called Abu Hurairah and he said, Ya Aba Hir. Ya Aba Hir. That's another, like a name, a good name, like Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam is giving him just half of Abu Hurairah to be Abu Hir. And he said, Ya Aba Hir, ijlis, sit down. And he sat down. He said, Ishrab, drink. And he drank. Then he said, again, and again, and again. And he said, to the point that he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have no space. I am full. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam took the remaining and he said, Bismillah, and he drank the remaining milk. That's actually the story of Abu Hurairah with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Can you tell me what we learn from this story? We became nowadays in a time that lots of people actually became so selfish, thinking only about themselves. And we understand that Rasulullah was kind to Abu Hurairah. Rasulullah was kind to the entire people of Suffah, the poor and the needy who are sitting in the back of the masjid, at the back of the masjid, and at the same time taking care of one another. Abu Hurairah, the hungry person, is serving the entire group by himself before even drinking one sip of milk. That tells you about the ethics, the morals of the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Another example, because of the time, another example, and that example actually, who is narrating? Surprisingly, again, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. Abu Hurairah is the same person who is narrating this hadith. And this hadith is mentioned in al-Bukhari and Muslim. So it is muttafaqun alayh, agreed upon, the highest level of authenticity. He said one day a poor man came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the man said, Ya Rasulullah, I'm so tired. I cannot even stand on my feet because I'm so hungry. And Rasulullah checked his rooms, his houses. And you know what? Rasulullah didn't find anything. They said, we only have water. That's all. Rasulullah Muhammad, nowadays we have people, they have enough food for 1 month. For 1 month. And they are not satisfied. They are not content. They will tell Imam, Allah is so angry at me. Imam does not love me. He gave you food enough for 1 month. He gave you everything you want. And still, you are not satisfied. You are not feeling happy. Rasulullah didn't have anything. Then he came outside to the man, and he took the man to the congregation, to the gathering of the Sahaba, and he said, مَن يُضَيِّفُ هَذَا اللَّيْلَ? Who is going to host this guest tonight? Who is going to host the guest of Rasulullah? A man raised his hand and he said, can I do this, Ya Rasulullah? He said, yes. Take him. So one of the companions, one of Al-Ansar, one of those people of Al-Medina, took the man to honor, to feed him. And he went to his wife. He said, do we have something? She said, we only have some little food, what is enough only for our 2 children. He said, no, don't feed our children tonight. We have to take care of the guest of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he said, keep the kids busy till they fell asleep and let them sleep without eating. And he told her, just cook the food and bring the food closer to the guest. And then you can turn off the light, the lantern. And they brought the food, the man and the wife and the guest. And she turned off the light with a certain way that looked to be accidentally happened. But she intended to do so. At that time, the guests started to eat. And they pretended that they are eating till the man got full and he left. The next day, that companion had met Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Without even telling him the story, Rasulullah smiled at him and he said, you know what? Allah liked and Allah smiled at what you have done. Allah loved what you have done, and Allah had revealed a Quran about your incident yesterday. Allah said in Surah Al-Hashr, وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. They give preference to others, even if they are in a desperate need. Allah had revealed a Quranic verse because of their situation, because of what they have made. This is what we need to do, to have in our community, in our society, in our ummah in large, to take care of one another. If we really love Rasulullah, if we really follow him as ummah nowadays, we need to follow the footsteps of Rasulullah. We need to follow the footsteps of the companions of Rasulullah, their ethics, their kindness, to be kind for one another, nice, gentle, merciful, to help your brothers in the masjid, to serve them without feeling arrogant that you don't know who I am to serve all of you? No, we don't want that attitude to be amongst the Muslims. We are the Ummah of Islam. We need to be the most kind. We need to be the most nice and the most merciful. May Allah guide us to the right path. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us to that action of the worship of Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Man la yarham, la yurham." The one who doesn't show mercy, he will not get the mercy of Allah in the day of judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us. Allahumma ameen. When you do something, when you help others, when you smile, when you give a charity, don't think about people. Don't look at people. You are thinking of the reward from Allah and Allah alone. Jazakum Allahu khayra. Barakallahu feekum. And may Allah keep us together on His way and steadfast on His worship. Allahumma ameen. Jazakum Allah khayran for listening. Jazakum Allah khayran for attending this lecture. Barakallahu feekum. And inshallah, we will meet you again and again. And I just wanted to remind you that tomorrow, inshallah, after Maghrib, we will continue our journey about the main theme of the chapters of the Quran with Surah Al-Ahqaf, inshallah. After we finished talking about Surah Al-Jathiyah, we will move, inshallah, tomorrow to Surah Al-Ahqaf. Get yourself ready, prepare, and read. And this is our sacred journey to know more and more about the Quran. Barakallahu feekum. And actually, I will conclude the lecture by the dua for all of us, actually, for all the Muslims. And this is the kindness. That's another sign of the kindness. When you make a dua, don't be selfish. Don't be selfish. Make a dua for yourself, for your ummah, for your brothers and sisters in Palestine, in Gaza, in Sudan. Make a dua for your brothers and sisters everywhere. Make a dua for your parents. Make a dua for your family members. Even if you do not like the behavior of some of them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are not angels. Wallahi, we are not. You are not an angel. You have lots of deficiencies. So we need to stand in solidarity together, even by dua. May Allah accept our du'as. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. I can see, mashallah, the brothers and sisters had joined the lecture. Brother Mumtaz and Sister Khadija Adam, Brother Imtiaz Khan, Dina Harun, Sister Vivi, Sister Shaliza, Sister Mizan, and Brother Muizzuddin, Sister Rahima Baksh. May Allah bless all of you. Allahumma ameen. Brother Muhammad Ali, mashallah. Long time without seeing you, brother. Of course, we are missing you. We are missing the whole family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you know what? Even if we have long distance, but the most important part is our hearts. Our hearts are connected. Actually. We make dua for you. You have a lot of responsibility. And you remember our slogan during the COVID? You are not alone. I see Auntie Maryam is moving her lips with the slogan, you are not alone. You have brothers and sisters are loving, caring, make dua for you. Brother Muizzuddin also asking for the dua for the family. May Allah make it easy for you, brother. May Allah facilitate all your affairs. Allah knows that I love you all for the sake of Allah. May Allah keep us always under the flag of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Jazakumullah khairan. Let's raise our hands. May Allah accept our dua. Allahumma ameen. اللهم لك الحمد يا ربنا كما تحب وكما ترضى. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا مريضا إلا شفيته، ولا ميتا إلا رحمته، ولا دينا إلا قضيته، ولا هما إلا فرجته. اللهم انصر إخواننا في كل مكان. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين. اللهم يا ربنا قو عزائمهم. اللهم احقن دماء المسلمين. اللهم احقن دماء المسلمين. اللهم كن عونا لإخواننا في فلسطين. اللهم ثبت أقدامهم وقو عزائمهم. اللهم يا ربنا ردنا إلى دينك مردا جميلا. اللهم وحد صفنا واجمع كلمتنا وحببنا إلى بعضنا، ألف بين قلوبنا. اللهم انزع البغضاء من بيننا. اللهم يا ربنا وحد صفوف المسلمين، إنك على كل شيء قدير. اللهم اقبل توبتنا وقض حاجتنا. اللهم اقبل توبتنا وقض حاجتنا. اللهم ارزقنا شفاعة نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم